I'll be the host for this session, and I truly welcome you all taking your time and coming at this session. And I make sure and I guarantee you that this will be a wonderful session, and you'll be groomed with lot of stuffs. And even I welcome Neeraj Shah sir. He was an MD at a US software based firm, and now he's the CEO at 𝘕𝘂𝘕. So I truly welcome him, and yes sir, we are all ears to you, and you can continue, sir.
Okay. First of all, extremely happy to be here. Thanks to PICT, Dr. Bansod. I think it's wonderful to come and just be a part of this and try and inspire as many of you over there to get into entrepreneurship. So let me just give a brief background about myself. So I have been an entrepreneur for the last 21 years of my life. I started back in 2001. I'm basically a mechanical engineer from Pune University. So my first venture was about in the fashion sector, where I tried to show people how outfits fit on them online. So this was an idea I got in my fourth year of engineering, where back in 2001, the US had started selling clothes online, and they were getting great sales, but their rejection rates were very high because people did not understand how their outfit fit on them online. So they would generally order, say, a shirt of size 42. It would come home, and they would try and fit it, but then they would realize it didn't fit on them, and they would replace it with another size. So this rejection cost is borne by the clothing company, and that ran into millions of dollars. So I tried to fix this problem by creating a virtual fitting room where a person could enter 6 measurements of their body. I create a 3D model and then drag and drop that particular outfit onto that model, and they can basically shop with more confidence and without the rejection rates. So long story short, I started after engineering. I sat down to write my business plan. Obviously, my parents thought this idea was really not worth anyone's time because this was 20 years back. We had dial-up internet connections, at that time. So, and honestly, India was hardly a market for shopping online. We didn't even have websites which would load, say not less than in 5 minutes. So I started to write my business plan. I came up with a detailed 200-page document, and I tried to share it with friends and family. Not surprisingly, no one got back to me of their response. And one of my uncles told me that, Neeraj, this is too long, 200 pages is an extremely long business plan to read. So why don't you shorten it? So I again sat for a couple of months and I got it down to an 8-page document. And then one of my friends told me that, India is not the place for an idea like yours. So you should try and look at the US market to raise money. So then I started doing that. And around in a year's time, I managed to raise around $2 million for this idea. So I was kind of Pune's one of the first funded startups of Pune. And obviously, that time the media PR wasn't in place for startups because honestly, there was no ecosystem at that time. So I did this venture for 4 years. I had my marketing office in LA and New York. I had my development center here in Pune. Obviously, I'm not a software engineer, but I knew what I expected from the product. I did that for a couple of years, and then I sold my company. Along the way, I did another 2 ventures, and in 2008, I decided to do something scalable. So being an mechanical engineer, I'm extremely fond of automobiles. 2008 was a very tricky year. Fuel prices were going up, and all major automotive manufacturers wanted to increase their fuel efficiency of the car. So that's where basically the idea of lightweighting came, where you try and reduce the weight of a component by replacing solid with hollow. So if there is a solid steel bar in a car, you try and replace that with a hollow tube. Now in engineering, all of us know that, if you consider the strength to weight ratio, so 1 kg pipe will be stronger than a 1 kg bar, solid bar. and that's just engineering. So I started this factory in 2007, 2008, and today we have around 400 customers across India. Uh, we also cater to 4 different verticals. That's automotive, furniture, food processing, pharmaceutical industry, and that's on the work front. On the personal front, I have been one of the founder charter members of TiE Pune back in 2010. I realized that there was no ecosystem at all in Pune, for the entrepreneurs. So me and a couple of people, we started TiE Pune, and that's how we started getting the whole ecosystem together. So I have mentored and funded companies in the last 8 years of my life after I started TiE. These are only in the manufacturing IoT domain because I really understand that domain. Uh, basically, my mentorship and investing has been slightly structured. So I am on a board of the IIT Bombay Sign. So IIT Bombay has a incubation center called Sign. So I'm a mentor on board of IIT Bombay. Uh, Sometimes they also recommend names to other universities around the world. So I was invited by Stanford University to be a mentor. So I also mentor companies in the US through Stanford, and and even 𝘕𝑚𝑐𝑠. So right now I mentor basically companies of IIT Bombay, Stanford, and of 𝘕𝑚𝑐𝑠. That's what I do, and if they're found interesting, I also invest in them sometimes. That's all about me. Wonderful to be here. And again, your college being from Pune, me being from Pune, obviously, it's a great feeling to come and talk to all of you. So what I've done is that I have sort of created some slides. I hope you can see the slide share.
Yes, sir, it's visible.
Okay, lovely. So what I've done is that to try and get some output from this discussion before we kind of make it interactive, what I do is I've got a few slides ready over here for all of you. These are simple, powerful tips which will help you be a better entrepreneur. This is extremely a first stage tips and tricks. So this is meant for students like you who want to or envisage themselves to do something, in the entrepreneurship domain after completing your education. I'm sure some of you have wonderful ideas. Some of you already have your startups. So please make sure that you take these tips and extremely well, because this is perhaps my learning of the last 20 years, what I've tried to put in these slides. So my first tip for all of you is to get gritty. So what is grit? Grit is perseverance. Grit is the go get them attitude, what we expect from entrepreneurs. Grit is the ability to keep working when everyone tells you that you should simply give up. So if you want to be a successful entrepreneur, you have to be gritty. The second tip, what I can tell you is that you must challenge yourself always. So if you really want to be a successful entrepreneur, you have to challenge yourself no matter what. No one else is going to push you. So honestly, it's up to you to do it. Challenges obviously keep entrepreneurs on their toes. If you're constantly looking for the next challenge, you'll always be prepared for what comes your way. So be prepared, do understand that if you're going to be in the entrepreneurial zone, challenges are going to come and they are going to be tough. So let me give you an example. Suppose, you start going to the gym, to build your upper body, and you start doing, biceps with say 5 pounds of weight. At first, it's going to be difficult, right? But the more you challenge yourself, and the more you get used to it, you will gradually increase from 5 pounds to 10 pounds to 20 pounds to 30 pounds. So it's all a matter of challenging yourself every day at work. My third tip is that please be very passionate about your idea, about your work. So why do I say that? Simply is that if you don't love what you do, don't do it. As simple as that. If you don't love your idea, do not go ahead with it. If you do not like entrepreneurship, do not go ahead with it. I truly believe it's as simple as that. As an entrepreneur, personally, you're going to put in long hours of work and a lot of sacrifices for your business. When you're passionate about what you do, putting in long hours won't feel much of a sacrifice there. And it's personal, right? When you love what you really put work for it. If you're not passionate about what you do, you're not going to have the motivation to keep going, whether you're stressed or tired. So, have you noticed some entrepreneurs around your friends, family who are extremely motivated all the time? That is what I mean to say. That be extremely passionate about your idea and about the work going forward. Also, the next tip, what I can give you guys is you must take risks. Now, humans generally are very risk averse, but part of being an entrepreneur is recognizing the risks that you should take. Successful entrepreneurs obviously take a lot of risks. It's part of the job. Successful entrepreneurs also know which to take and which they shouldn't take. So learn to recognize the risks that will benefit your business and take them accordingly. Also, learn how to identify which risks are worth taking, and you will definitely become a more successful entrepreneur going ahead. My next this is to try and reduce the fear. So why do I say reduce the fear? It's simple. Fear brings everything to a halt. So don't try and overthink what is coming. Honestly, fear stops action. Entrepreneurs have been able to pivot and quickly take action when they see an opportunity and recognize a mistake. With fear riding on your shoulder, you will not be a successful entrepreneur. As an entrepreneur, if you let fear be your guide, you won't be able to listen to your intuition. You'll always be afraid to take the necessary risks, and your judgment will be clouded by emotion. So let me repeat this. If you're afraid, it's then your mind will not be able to listen to your intuition. And intuition is one of the core elements of being an entrepreneur. So everyone, please understand that you cannot get emotional about what you are doing. I know it's easier said than done, but you have to practice it. If you can manage to reduce fear, then you will be, a really controlled and more successful entrepreneur. Keep in mind that fear has to do with your perspective. For example, suppose you really perceive something to be bad, you will obviously fear it. So try and see, how you can manage your fears. So try and have confidence building exercises, surround yourself with better people, have open discussions with friends and family about what problems you have. And I'm sure the fear in turn will reduce, as the days go by. My next tip to all of you is to visualize your goal. This tip is less abstract than you might think. So please bear with me here. When I recommend entrepreneurs to visualize goals, I don't intend them to close their eyes and see the goal in front of them. Absolutely not. What I want you to do is to visualize your goal, is to define it extremely clearly so that it becomes real and tangible. Your goals become tangible. So suppose one of you guys want to create an IoT company. And suppose you say, I want to try and optimize and try and make every machine in this world talk. And that's not going to happen, right? So what you get perhaps is you can say in manufacturing, suppose in mechanical, for example, a 5-ton press. I'm going to try and create an IoT device for a 5-ton press, which will enable the owner to take better care of their machines, to try and reduce the downtime, and also to try and make it more efficient. So that is what I mean to say, that try and visualize your goal extremely clearly. So, visualizing business uh, goals to become a successful entrepreneur, you can tell someone, that, this is what I want to do. But honestly, what I also feel is that you should go with your strengths. So suppose if you are a great networker, then visualize yourself really doing that and much more. So, uh, when you ask a successful entrepreneur what their goal is, they can really tell you in a great detail, because that is what they are working to achieve. So let me repeat this for you. Whenever you meet successful entrepreneurs, try and really ask them what their goal is. They will really explain it in extreme detail. That is clarity. So please understand this. One of the next big important tips what I can give all of you is to hire great partners. So, maybe co-founders, maybe a team. You have to have fantastic partners around you. And it's a bit obvious, right? So successful entrepreneurs aren't successful within a vacuum. We all have a great team and support network behind us. When I recommend hiring great partners, I don't mean someone who can do the job you're hiring them for. You should try and seek partners who have great character and whom also like and respect you. You and your partners will be working long hours together and making extremely stressful choices. So if you don't respect your partner, your teamwork won't last. Also, fill your team with people who have great character. And you're obviously then on the way to success. When choosing your partners and team members, always remember that you can teach skills, but you can't teach character. So please choose a partner who has a great character. This is very important. You must always act fast. Talk only delays action. Successful entrepreneurs act. That's the bottom line. It's easy to get wrapped up in planning, considering potential failures, discussing funding, and talking in meetings with board members. But if all you need to do is to talk and you'll get nothing done. So at some point, you'll have to halt the talking and start, make something happen. So, I really suggest that, you know, you should use technology to the maximum today. Have to-do lists, have go-to items, uh, and obviously plan in a structured way. A lot of people, some of the entrepreneurs I meet, they are extremely vocal about their idea. But when you again meet them after a couple of months, you yet realize that yeah, they are yet saying the same thing what they had perhaps told me 3 months ago, with absolutely no action taken at all. So try and look at this part, extremely seriously. One of the Another important part what I would like to tell you is to spend time on important tasks. I cannot even tell you how important this is. There is nothing as such as overnight success. You know, when you examine successful people, you will realize that actually they have worked really, really hard for a long time for their achievements. So when you think that you have found overnight success, really check again and closely examine the hours and days and years that have gone through to get their success. And take a look at the life, take a look at what they have learned, how many times they have failed. So it's very, very important that you really spend a lot of time on important tasks. At the same time, also be extremely patient with yourself. So keep plugging in, put in long hours, and I'm sure you really get where you want to get. One of the most important tips what I can give all of you, and since all of you are new startups or want to be new startups, is to please plan your finances. Startups need money. It's all a part of the lifestyle of a startup. So many entrepreneurs spend too much time looking for money and not enough time acting. But that doesn't mean that you can leap, without a plan and the money. So there are a few ways you can fund your business. So let me try and help you out a little here. One is self-funding, where obviously you go to friends and family, you ask them for money, they look at you, they look at the relations you have, and they start funding you. Second is you go to investors, and you obviously try and raise money there by giving an equity of your company. The third is to go for a startup loan, which through the bank or a startup mudra scheme, and decide what's best for you and plan your finances in the beginning. Always make a budget, because then you know how much you have for what aspect of your business. My next tip would be to ask yourself, who exactly is your customer? One of the most common reasons that entrepreneurial businesses fail is that they really don't know who their customer is. So for them, actually, there is no customer. If you start a business or make a product, but you don't actually know who will buy it, that person actually may not exist at all. So before you make a financial plan or raise capital or even ask for money from your friends and families, or even for that matter, choose a name for your company, make sure that there is a customer for the service or product that you want to create or provide. Without a customer, you don't have a business. Successful entrepreneurs obviously know who their customers and target market are. Moving on, once you get customers, please listen to their complaints. If you have to deliver more than you have promised, you're sure to have satisfied customers, investors, and business partners. Making promises and not delivering is honestly the best way to lose your business. In contrast, successful entrepreneurs obviously exceed expectations of everyone. The next point is about managing risk. So remember that, when I said you should take risks, that is absolutely important. But, always remember that they should be manageable and extremely controlled. As successful entrepreneurs, you need to also learn how to identify which risks to take and also which not to take. Be sure to recognize where you are in the whole cycle. So for example, if you're starting off your entrepreneurial cycle, obviously we are not equipped to take those kind of big risks or jump what is required. So what I would like to suggest is that you really take a calculated risk. At what point of business do you want to take which kind of risk? I'm sure sooner down the line, as your business gets older and better, you can definitely take a bigger and better leap. Self-promote. I think every successful entrepreneur should self-promote. Many people don't self-promote or talk about their business too much for the sound of, for the fear of sounding that, they are, big egomaniacs. But honestly, if you don't promote your business, who will promote? Also, know your business well, know some key statistics well, have your 15-second elevator pitch ready. Also, when someone asks you about your business, you can actually factually, try and promote it quickly also. Another way to self-promote without sounding, extremely egoistic is to also know what your customers say about your business. So when someone asks how your business is going, you can tell them about your customer feedback. So don't forget that, you have to promote bad and good about your business. It cannot be always, very good. One of the next tips for all of you guys out there is to network, network, and network. There is nothing as too much networking. So whenever I say that, you should never stop networking, because honestly, you never know when your next lead, your next customer, your next investor will be. And chances are, if you network with enough people, you will also bump into other entrepreneurs who might have ideas and connections what you need. You might also find a new connection, when you're going to an airport or when you're going to meet your next business partner or an elevator. You never know, right, where the next big, potential customer, client, investor is. So anyone you meet, just have a small chat with them, introduce yourself, ask about who they are, what they do, and you never know, your next big team member, your next big partner, your next big customer might actually be sitting next to you. One of the next tips I can tell you is to learn and create. So, successful entrepreneurs' mindset is that of learning and creation. As entrepreneurs, you always want to be taking in new information and creating. So I don't necessarily say that all of you should learn only from social media or the news, what we read on Google or whichever platform. I also would like you to learn and read from books, because obviously books are the real knowledge. Everything else what we see is information. So there's definitely a difference between knowledge and information. A growth mindset is extremely crucial if you want to become a successful entrepreneur. So try and stay away from TV, social media, movies. This is just entertainment, right? And just passive information. Pursue everything in moderation, but in general, most of these activities are time wasters. So, instead of watching TV and movies, I suggest all of you read books, case studies. Also try and read about the new takeovers, the new unicorns in the market. To be successful, really honestly, you also should do activities which help you restore your learning and creator mindset. So please understand that you need to nourish yourself, get great sleep, and also try and focus on reading or playing an instrument, exercising a little. So it will really help your mind learn and create more. One very, very important tip, which I have finally started doing personally, is to put everything on your calendar. So, everything has to come on your calendar. Put your meetings, your work, your time with friends, happy hour business meetings, meal times, anything else you want to do, please put it on your calendar. Once something is in your calendar, everyone who needs to meet you knows when the time is available and when it is not. An additional benefit is that once everything is on your calendar, there are no excuses for not getting it done. Also, I want to get your attention to one small item, is that please include a quiet time in your calendar. So, for example, say afternoon 4 o'clock to 5 o'clock. I really don't want, entrepreneurs to I really want them to do nothing for 1 hour a day, because this really recharges the mind and it helps you bounce back also. Also, one of the next qualities what I really feel is that one must also try and ask a lot of questions. The reason is because you really don't know everything, right? I mean, who does know everything? You should always ask for help, advice, from mentors, uh, everything else you need to do about business setup, running. Asking questions is extremely valuable skill as an entrepreneur. So definitely do try and ask more. Asking questions also helps you keep a learning mindset, which is ready to accept information and advice whenever need be. Uh, Obviously, people who learn generally ask a lot of questions and obviously are more likely to be successful at what they do. One of the next points which I would like to share with you is to learn from your failures. Failures is an option. Better to accept it now than later. You will fail at some point. We all do. I have also failed at many points. It's how you adjust to these failures that will make you a better at your business. Failure is an aspect of becoming a successful entrepreneur, and you should get used to it. If your first business does fail, keep in mind that you can create another one with the lessons you have learned from your first business. Get inspired. This is very, very crucial. Being an entrepreneur is a creative pursuit. As an entrepreneur, you have to make connections, solve problems, make new things that no one has ever thought of, right? So creators and creatives like us need to be continuously inspired. Successful entrepreneurs take time from their work things to find things which inspire them, and it can be in any form or factor. Uh, so, for example, inspiration can come from seeing an art museum, reading a book, maybe just, sketching something out. Successful entrepreneurs are already always inspired. So don't forget that. Don't let the magic slip away, because there are definitely going to be days where you feel totally burnt out, depressed, and you obviously need uh, things around you, hobbies around you, your exercise routine around you to really help you get re-inspired and jump back into the game. So thank you. This was a quick slide share, which I thought I could share with you. Uh, I would love to, open up to any questions, answers.
Yeah, it was wonderful session, Neeraj sir, and worth listening to your thoughts, and it would be great stuff if students ask the question and they can have a session interactive.
Sure.
So first of all, it was a very amazing content, like the whole glimpse of starting a business, right from who we choose as like what how we should be passionate about the idea, and then about choosing right partners and like everything. So that was really a good insight, and I hope the participants have like groomed well, and they might have got a good insight of starting up. I would like to tell the participants that you can even post your questions in the chat box so we can coordinate with it, or you can directly unmute yourself and ask questions.
Hello, am I audible?
Yes, Dhruvin, go ahead.
Good afternoon, sir. I had a question regarding the risk that you told about, like how to identify which risk is worth taking. In many number of risks there are, but how to identify which risk is worth taking?
So I think that's a wonderful question, Ruben. Uh, so honestly, I think, like I said earlier, that there is something called an intuition in an entrepreneur. So try and listen to your intuition, and then you can take a calculated risk. So when you're starting out as an entrepreneur, I really don't suggest that you take very big financial risks on your own money. So try and see a risk which is, not very financially heavy. Try and also look at a risk which does not commit more than 24 hours of your day. And also try and don't take a risk which is obviously beyond the grasp of your team. So suppose today, if you will be able to say manufacture 100 instruments uh, a month, and suppose if a customer comes and says, can you give me 150? So obviously that is a risk worth taking, right? Because it's something in your, in your grasp. But suppose someone says that, what, give me 500 numbers. So obviously that is a risk worth not taking immediately. So it should be a measured risk. At every point of time, you should ask your question that is it a risk really worth taking? I hope that answers your question, Ruben. Thank you.
Yes, thank you, sir.
Am I audible?
Yes.
Good afternoon, sir. I wanted to ask what difference does it make to have a startup, say in the United States or in India, with the same idea? What would be the advantages and how does the ecosystem matter?
Okay. Wonderful, wonderful question. Uh, Honestly, in my last 10 years, no one's asked me this question. So I think, hats off to you. Uh, so in India, the ecosystem right now is just blooming. When I say that, now is the age of incubators. For example, how your college has its own incubator. That way, IIT has one, BITS has one. There'll be government incubators which are sprouting in even smaller tier two, tier three cities. So the whole entrepreneurship culture in India is just growing right now. If you see in terms of angel investors, in terms of seed investors, they are opening to ideas other than IT. They are open to ideas about consumer goods. They are open to ideas on the service sector. So the whole market in India right now is just blooming. It's kind of growing. So definitely there are challenges here, and obviously ease of doing business is not what it should be. There is a lot of red tape. Also, investors are not that trigger friendly, so they do take their time in investing, finding about who you are. Vice versa, if you look at the US, I think the entire ecosystem over there is brilliant. Investors are trigger happy. They just immediately fund you within a day or so of listening to your business idea. Also, getting a good team in the US or Europe is extremely easy because they have got great networking sites to help you find what you're looking for. Also, supply chain is wonderful over there. They have got great apps, great delivery people. Uh, Technologically, it's superb. The government has superb schemes for the startup sector where they actually promote it. So obviously, starting off in the US would give you a better launch pad. I hope that's answered your question.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir. My question is that if I wish to enter into manufacturing segment, then how should I what product should I go for? Like how to decide that? Everyone says that it should be according to the market requirements, but like it sounds easy, but it is still unable to find that what product will actually work. So
Okay. So normally what I suggest entrepreneurs nowadays is to try and get some work experience before starting off working on an idea. For example, in your case, suppose if you want to get into manufacturing, but you do not know where, obviously it is extremely difficult to choose any one idea when you're just out. So one of the ways is to actually work in an emerging sector. Say, for example, in the earlier years, solar was something of an emerging sector. Today, electric vehicles is extremely emerging. There are fast chargers, dash chargers, electric charging stations, battery swap stations. So obviously, this is one area or sector which is doing extremely well, and there is amazing potential, say for the next 10 years, at least in the electric vehicle space. And this is to do with battery manufacturing, connector manufacturing, automobile manufacturing, servicing, battery swap stations. So you can try and look at one sector which is really doing well, then taking that sector, break it down into levels. Out of that, remove the service side, keep the and then keep the manufacturing side. In the manufacturing, try and see what really interests you. Try and see around you, for example, is there an industry around you in your city which caters to those kind of technologies, and then start working on something like that.
yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
Okay.
Hello.
Yeah.
Hello, sir. I want to ask that there are two types of startups. First one is bootstrap, and second one is startup raising VC funding. The one who raising VC funding play valuation game and don't seem to worry about profits for a long time. For example, like Zomato. Can you tell more about how this valuation game works?
How these valuations
Game works.
game works. Acha, acha, acha. Okay. So yes, like you said, there are a couple of ways of starting a business. Bootstrapping is what 95% of the people actually start their business with. Gone are the days that you can actually start a business with funding. There will be very few investors who would actually fund a business which has no money in it, put in as capital. So I suggest that you don't look at that option at all. Bootstrap for a couple of years, put in your own money, put in your family's money, try and make it revenue, try and make some revenue out of your company, which will finally help you attract investors. So that's what I recommend. Looking at the unicorns like say Zomato or the others who are coming in line in a very big way, you see there are always exceptions in the market where the founder of such companies creates such a big noise about who they are that retail investors want to join and jump into the bandwagon. So you will always find some companies who have really made it very big, even though they haven't been in profit ever. So, that's the way the world is, that somehow we are always attracted towards the stars. And there are some companies who become those stars. So if you ask me if there is a game, I don't think it is a game. I think it is just how we perceive those companies to be. So there are some companies which honestly never make money, but they are important for the ecosystem, right? And there are some companies which have to always make money because they're a part of the same ecosystem. So I wouldn't read much into it. It is just good for a quick read. I would focus on bootstrapping, my own startup for a couple of years, try and start building some revenue, get some good customers, and then wait for an investor to approach you. Thank you.
Neeraj sir, what do you suggest to pick up the segment? I know it's a bit off the line topic, whether we should go with B2B or B2C.
Okay. I think this is the age of B2C. So if you can create a product which goes directly B2C, there is great value addition. There is also a scope for using the latest technology. There is also a lot to learn from your customer complaints. So I think B2C really works today.
But B2C on the other side is very cash hungry business. So we require a lot of money to put in when we talk about B2C.
Absolutely. So that is something which should be scaled in a very gradual way.
Am I audible?
Yes, Siddhi, you are.
Please go ahead.
I wanted to ask, like, while team building, should we go with friends with whom we have a great connect, but they might not be that efficient or goal driven towards the same idea, or should we go with more efficient people who will contribute more to that idea?
Okay, lovely question, Siddhi. I must say that all of you are asking fantastic questions. So I would suggest that you go with a co-founder who is exactly the opposite of who you are. So both of you, all three of you, or four of you bring in different skill sets. So you should actually have a partner who's exactly a flip coin. So if you are patient and quiet and calm, the partner should be impatient, loud, chirpy. If you are great with people, your other partner should be great with customers. If you don't like numbers and accounting, your other partner should be obviously from the accounting background. So I suggest do not look at friendship. Friendship is something which is of a different is on a different platform. Work should always have co-founders which bring in much more and a different skill and attribute to what you have.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah.
Hello, sir.
Yes.
Sir, in college we came across a lot of opportunities. Like, let's say there are few hackathons and two teams approach us. So we have to decide like which team we should take part in, like become a part of. So while like what happens is that in our mind the thing comes that we should not lose any opportunity. So when we come across a lot of opportunities, what we do is like we become a part of lot of teams. So at the end we like we found we realized that it is all the mess. We can't perform better in a particular team. So what is your approach to find a better opportunity, like to select a better opportunity?
Okay. So I think it is best not to be greedy. I think it is best to take, one single shot and completely focus on that one single shot. You cannot sit on the fence ever. So you cannot say that, I want to go on the left side of the road and also go on the right side of the road. I don't think that really works. You cannot sit on a fence. So try and take one side and give it your level best. Do not think about what if you had taken the other road. So even when you want to start a business, uh, suppose you want to manufacture, say, a EV battery. Maybe after 3 months you will feel that, forget the batteries, you should look at, a fast chargers or dash chargers. But that doesn't work, right? When you have made a commitment to make batteries, you need to only then work on batteries. So you will have to marry the idea and stick with it. That will really help you also become more responsible as a person.
Yes, sir. Understood.
Okay.
Hello, sir.
Yes, hello.
Yes, sir. Good evening, sir. So my question is that
Yes.
currently I'm studying in second year of engineering. So down the line, if in 5 to 6 years to become a successful entrepreneur, what must we should do currently? What is your opinion on that?
Okay. So a few things. One is really try and read a lot of books, which will give you a good idea about general knowledge and what's happening around you. Second is to start skill building. So suppose if you love coding, try and learn as many languages as you can. If you like to play with electronics, try and skill yourself. So try and invest the next few years in just skill building yourself, so that it helps you also achieve your goal in a faster way. The third is start building a network of friends who are also into the ecosystem. Also try and read about what entrepreneurs are doing, what are the latest sectors, where the government is spending money. Say for example, government is spending money on metros today, so definitely there will be a lot of requirement from the metro uh, part of the business. They will require signals and electronics and gadgets and everything else, right? IoT devices. So try and read up a lot about also what is happening. Suppose if you end up doing a job after your college, try and look at your job not only as a job, but also try and look at it as an entrepreneur. Try and look at it at your job as something which is yours. The moment you do that, you will start to realize that there are great opportunities in doing better what you're already doing. And that part of doing better of what you're already doing is a great opportunity for a business. Also try and look at gaps. So in life, suppose today, if my car gets a flat tire, earlier I would have to replace the tire on the side of the road, get it get the puncture done. But then what happened? Innovation came, right? They had run flat tires, where even if you have a puncture, you can actually drive it for 20-30 kilometers before you actually need a tire change. So there was a gap that the entrepreneurs found, and they tried to fill this gap with a solution and an innovation. So try and do that. Try and find gaps which you can fill with innovation.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Sir, I had two more questions. The first one I think is a bit philosophical. Is how do you go with your gut when there are many people trying to talk you out of your idea, or if they are trying to show you that do something else and this might help you in those situations? How, what exactly should be done? Because many a times there are senior people who give you advice, more experienced than you, but then sometimes you want to go with your gut. So that is the first one. And second, where to find the right team?
Okay. Both these questions are valid. One is follow your gut. Do not listen to people around you too much, or listen to people around you, but don't take them so seriously. Seniors are obviously there to guide and help and support. But after some point, you will have to take charge of your own life. So remember that. Try and take charge of your life. Try and take charge of your business idea. And in regards to finding co-founders or people or team, I think just talk about your idea. Many times, what I have seen is that people do not talk about their idea in the fear that the idea may be copied and shared with a lot of people. I think that is a very wrong notion. An idea should always be shared with as many people as possible, because only when you share your idea do you realize, or do people realize how they can help you. So I suggest, one is that share your ideas as much as possible to many people. Be open to criticism, because criticism will help you purify your idea much better. And at the last, I'll repeat myself, please go with your gut feeling. Do not take others' advice or criticism too seriously. I hope that's helped.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Excuse me, sir.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had a question that should we go with ideas which are small, like I can visualize them, like they don't need a lot of effort, or should I go with ideas which are scalable and I just know a goal but I don't know the path yet?
I think the first option is great to start with. So initially, with a bootstrap company, go with smaller ideas. It will
Thank you,
also
sir.
give you the confidence, of doing bigger next time.
Hello, sir.
Yes.
Sir, some people have great ideas and they are good at executing the stuff, but they lack the networking skills. So, what advice would you like to give regarding
Um,
that?
yeah. So I suggest you'll have to change your basic core nature and try and be a little more extrovert. That is, the bitter pill to swallow. There is no other option, honestly. Or then find a co-founder who is really out there, extrovert, loves to network, and then let him or her do that part of the business. Otherwise, if you do not want a co-founder, you will have to become a real good networker. And that's a hard part of business. You have to do things which put you out of your comfort zone. And often I have seen personally in the last 20 years, things which have put me out of my comfort zone have really given me great dividends later. So, step out.
Thank you, sir.
Sir, it's a general question generally asked by the students of PICT that we generally suggest that you do the bootstrapping. So student ask you from where we generate the funds for bootstrapping. We are from the middle class background. We have only limited amount of money to pay the fees. So even we have a great zeal to become an entrepreneur, when it comes to building a prototype, we don't have funds. So whom to approach?
So I think today there are great Atal incubation centers in and around every city, where the government does help you with those kind of fundings. Also, some of the big manufacturing companies and service companies also have their own fund which helps and supports small businesses. So definitely corporates also can play a part in this.
Okay. So I'm saying student comes up with the idea and then the funds required to convert that idea into a prototype.
Yes. So, for example, suppose if it comes with, an EV vehicle based idea, so definitely someone like Tata Motors or someone in that sector would love to take a look at it. And if it is feasible, then you never know, right? A vendor may just come and say that, why not join hands and do it?
Mm-hmm.
So it's all a part of networking and sharing what you have done. So try and leverage LinkedIn as much as possible. Try and ask your mentor, what are the next steps, and I think it really works.
So one common trend that I have identified on the LinkedIn is For example, if I get connected to Ratan Tata, for example, on LinkedIn, and moment he accepts my request on LinkedIn, the next moment I will send him the message. Yeah, I'm looking for this kind of. So these guys are quite fed up with this kind of messages because they were knowing that the moment I accept the LinkedIn request, there would be sales pitch kind of stuff.
Yes, yes.
So which is because of that, someone with a right intent also hampers in this business.
Yes, 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 yes. That is true. But also sometimes I have seen a lot of business happen on LinkedIn because, honestly, there are other people also to approach, right? So yes, Mr. Ratan Tata is a great guy to approach. But there are obviously, 1,000 more, maybe medium scale businessmen or, of the same customer type who you're looking for, maybe of a different scale, who would love to listen to you.
Correct.
So I've had a lot of conversations with people who have met on LinkedIn, and some of them have become very fruitful.
Okay. Yes, Sayyam.
Good evening. Um, like in this online thing, like since 1 year, 1.5 years, I've been a part of online virtual entrepreneurship meetups or startup discussion sessions or startup brainstorming sessions. But then I've never been a part of physical startup brainstorming sessions. So like till now you have reached till this point. Were you a part of any such physical sessions, or like do you know of anyone who has been a part of, and does it help? Where does these sessions happen?
Yeah,
So
so
it's
there
a
are a
broad
lot of.
question.
No, absolutely. I mean, I do understand where you want to, why you want to ask this. Is that there are very good entrepreneurship clubs, say for example in Pune itself. So we have TIE, we have CII, we have Maratha Chamber of Commerce. All these institutions, all these places are a great place to meet other fellow entrepreneurs. And when you meet fellow entrepreneurs, you realize that everybody has the same problems, and most of them have the solutions to your own problems. So I suggest that now that the pandemic supposedly has reduced, and as and when the relaxations happen, and obviously with the right mask on and the right precautions in place, there will be quite a few meetups now which will happen. So there's this website called as meetup.com. You can check it out. It will tell you meetups happening in that city area at what day and time. So try and attend some. You will find it extremely fruitful.
True. Were you a part of any such meetups?
Yes, yes. So me and a couple of people, we founded this thing called TIE. It's the Indus Entrepreneurs. It is the world's largest entrepreneurial network. So they have a chapter in Pune. I'm no more a part of it, but you can obviously check it out on the internet. It's TIE Pune hai, or Kafi hai. There are quite a few. I think at least 20 to 25. So just you can just take a look at any one of them.
Cool. Thank you so much.
Yeah. Welcome.
Good evening, sir. I wanted to ask, if you wanted a partner for your business, which person you would select? An introvert with comparatively good coding and programming skills, or extrovert with a moderate or low moderate programming skills?
Okay. So I would first ask you, who are you in this?
I am extrovert with moderate programming skills.
Excellent. So then you should take an introvert with great programming skills. You should take the opposite of who you are.
Yeah, for me, I would take introvert and a highly programming skill person. But for others, how do they see people? Like
So,
they would take me or introvert.
So obviously, if you find a introvert person, you would obviously like to take someone who's an extrovert, right? So So basically take an exact person of who is the opposite of you. And that is what even people look for, because you add so much more value. You cannot have two people of the same type. Otherwise, then you will not have value, right? You cannot have a co-founder with whom you do not fight. That shows that your business isn't alive. So you definitely need to have a co-founder who adds a lot more different values than what you bring to the table. So suppose if you bring great coding skills, zero accounting knowledge, and mildly extrovert, so definitely there has to be another co-founder who is great in accounting, who is very extrovert, and perhaps who's great with people. So together then you have all the skill sets and attributes which a successful enterprise needs.
Yes. Okay, I get it.
Yeah.
Thank you, sir.
And I must say, this is one of the most interesting question answer session that I've had. Very, very good questions and very real questions, different questions. And I really do understand that all of you guys really do understand entrepreneurship much more. So I'm very, very pleased about this. Hats off to your EDC cell, and obviously, Dr. Gaurav for really putting up such a great show, and continuously upgrading and informing all of you, the latest trends in entrepreneurship, getting in speakers, holding workshops. So it really shows. I think all of you really do know a lot more. It's very impressive. So please be at it and keep at it.
Hello, sir.
Yeah.
Yeah, so sir, I wanted to ask, how does one use the US economy to grow a startup? For example, we saw Freshworks getting listed on NASDAQ recently. So, I mean, as an immigrant, how do I do business in US?
Yes. So
are they
if
based?
you see, yes. So if you see, Adish Premji or Narayan Murthy, all these people, they were from India, right? The point is that you start growing a company here and start acquiring customers in the US. The moment you do that, you spread your tentacles across that country, not even US, maybe Europe, Southeast Asia, anywhere. You grow your company in that area, you focus on a particular area or a particular vertical and keep building your strengths. In a matter of time, you'll realize that if 90% of your business is coming from a particular region, then it does make a lot of sense to have your headquarters in that region, because obviously it is getting all your money and everything from there. And obviously, if you're getting your customers from that area, you will obviously relocate most of your people over there. So the moment you do that, you have your headquarters there, then you also want to consolidate, and that's how Freshworks and others have kind of raised money, from those typical areas. So it's all a matter of organic growth, where you see growth, how it is coming, and it all takes place in a very beautiful way. It's all a part of the journey, actually, I would say, and you have to trust the journey. Thank you.
Right, sir. So is there a way of like doing it other way around, like from US, starting up from US, or does it have its own difficulties and issues?
So I know a couple of startups who from the US came and they found India to be a very big market. So it all depends on the product or service for who you are building it. And now, honestly, India is one of the biggest consumer markets compared to any other place in the world. So obviously the market is
100%.
Here. Yeah.
Right, sir. Thank you, sir. That answers my question.
Thank you.
Yes, sir. So we'll take the last question of the session from Mahavir.
Okay. Okay.
Yes, Mahavir.
How to build a team and all. I wanted to ask ki, how do we know ki this team wouldn't work out? I mean, at what time do we have to back out if it doesn't work? So it is as important as building a team, right? Like when do we know when to back out?
So your question is when to know when to back out.
Yeah.
So you want to back out from the idea, or you want
If
to back
that
out from
idea
the whole
doesn't
company?
back out from the team. Yes. And I'm not talking about making money. I'm talking about team nature and all. Money doesn't. No.
Okay, so I mean, honestly, I've not got your question really well, but I'll just try and answer it nevertheless.
I guess, sir, he means that if the team is not working out.
Okay, so normally I don't think
Yeah,
entrepreneurs
because
give
of
up.
their nature.
Okay, okay. So I think teams can always be replaced. So I don't think that should be taken personally. We all make mistakes, right? And perhaps one team member who doesn't get along with you can get along with someone else. So it is not a pure lose-lose, situation. So for example, a lot of times, when I've employed people, some of them do not perform in my company, but they go to the neighboring company and they're extremely good, because it all depends upon how the promoter leverages skill sets of that person for the organization, right? So suppose if you're not getting along with your partners, you can always, part ways, saying that, it's not working out, let's try out something else, or let's try out some other partners. So I don't think it should be taken too seriously. I think the focus should be on growing the product, growing the service. And in regards to when to quit, so normally there is a saying that, you should at least try and work out on the idea for 999 days. So that's 3 years. So I would give any idea at least 3 years before quitting. That's generally a rule of thumb. I hope I've answered your question. It was a slightly tricky question.
Yes. I get it. Yeah. Thank you, sir.
Yeah.
Yes, so that was a wonderful, and like we really appreciate you answering all the questions. I guess the time slot for question and answer was more than the presentation, and we really appreciate that you answered every questions with a satisfactory answers and solution to on the point. And we would love to welcome you again and having you for another session.
Sure.
It's really a brainstorming session, and I will request all of you for just switching on their camera. We'll take a group photo and then we'll wind up with this session.
Great. Just one small point I just want to make here is that, please take all the teachings at your incubation center very seriously, very well. Try and leverage what your institute offers to all of you. Try and make the most of these years. These are wonderful years as students that you can learn and really equip yourself with a lot of skill sets. Try and find a good mentor for your idea. It really helps you shape up your idea and your company really, really well. And today, mentors are available. There are great institutions which really help very well. So try and leverage your time well. And I hope to see you guys sometime soon when your colleges start full-fledged.
Cool. Thank you so much, everyone.
Sure. And wish you all the best. Do well and stay connected.
Thank you.
Yes.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you very much, Neeraj sir, for your time. We appreciate your time, and means maybe on a very short notice you agreed to take a session and all. We appreciate that, sir. Thank you very much.
Yes, it's wonderful to be here.
Thanks a lot, Neeraj sir.
Yes, Dr. Gaurav. Thank you.